Yeah, I've been with working with WealthBuilders officially since I think last October, but actually been talking to Kevin and Paul and some of the other guys at WealthBuilders about moving my SSAS across. So if you're not sure what that is, it's a director's pension, which I'm sure Kevin will tell you about. But I was a DIYer, I think is probably the words I would use for those for the podcast. You know, I had some experience, I had a decent sort of property portfolio. I also had a reasonably well-paid job as well, actually, which turned out to be a bit of a hindrance because I heard somebody talking about the fear of moving forward, and I probably was one of those people that actually sometimes if you've got a decent job, it's quite a big risk to take that leap of faith. So I've been pottering around doing different things with property, and you know, understood some of the fundamentals that are now in the structure that I understand, and that was probably my issue. That I haven't found anybody like WealthBuilders anywhere out there. You know, there was plenty of people trying to sell me new property courses, but what I was looking for was a holistic partner who could give me that guidance right across the board on many different aspects of wealth and protection, actually, as well. So, you know, I came across Kevin, like I said, about probably 18 months, 2 years ago, and joined officially back then. And what it's allowed me to do is be a bit more bold in some of my decision making. And you know, I left my job in 2018. I think I was a lot older than Luke. I think I was about 42, 43 when I did that. And I have now since moved across my pensions and my corporate pensions into a SSAS, and that's allowed me to really progress in the property pillar. And you know, we've gone past our financial security figure, and you know, pretty close to our financial independence, which is a real game changer. I've got 2 young children. It's allowed me to spend so much more time with them. Not having a boss is fantastic. Choosing how you want to live your life and on what terms is incredible. And knowing that you're doing that with the support of the team at WealthBuilders and the community around you as well has been, outstanding. And, you know, I'd have done this for 10 times the price, to be quite honest. It's not about that. And what I love about this team is that they're not constantly peddling the next course or any courses. In fact, they're just here to try and get the message out, which is, you know, has a real convergence with me around the ethics that I hold true and value. So it's been brilliant for the last sort of 12 months or so. So I've actually forgotten the original question. Waxing lyrical about WealthBuilders, but yeah.
Well, that's great. As you say, you know, you passed through security, and that's always the first target for all of our members when we join, you know, is like get to security, and that just takes the pressure off. And then independence is that next one. So, you know, you've done really well to hit those targets, Paul. Yeah,
I think it's that understanding of different options out there. So, you know, as you know, Christian, I've just done what they call a loan back, which has allowed me to, you know, buy a piece of property with a pension that I had, you know, 18 months ago, probably even a year ago, I had absolutely zero control over. And I always talk about my kids and the legacy that I want to leave. And, you know, just a handful of these type of properties would be enough to see them, you know, do them very, very well in their later life and pay for their education, and maybe even give them a good start in life, and hopefully look after me in my old age as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, thank you very much for your time tonight, Paul. Appreciate that.
I want to pick up a point with Paul, if I may, though, because Chris, you said at the beginning that sometimes when you're thinking about wealth, there's lots of people around you who would poo-poo it, you know, who would say, oh, you know, you don't want to do that, or maybe you're just not feeling supported. Or sometimes if you're making the decisions on your own and your spouse is in a support role, but they've got a job to do or got kids to raise, sometimes it's hard to get all your thoughts out. Paul, what I've enjoyed with you particularly is the way that you are encouraging a sounding board. Do you want to just mention that?
Yeah, you mean about the relationship we have about?
Yeah, because so, you know, basically use me to reverberate back your ideas.
Yeah, exactly. That's been invaluable, actually. And you know, we sat down, and I remember the conversation when you said, you know, well, yeah, you could probably do some of this on your own. And I probably could, and it probably would take me another decade to get to where I've got to in the last sort of 6 or 10 months. So, but it wasn't about that. And I think I was really open and honest with yourself, Kevin and Christian, say, look, I'm looking for someone to just sense check some of the decisions I'm making, to tell me that, you know, it's the right or the wrong thing to do, and to provoke that level of thinking. to enable me to teach me about due diligence in a more bank grade way, as you have done. And I think, you know, I have quite a few chats, you know, yourselves, just to sort of say, look, I'm thinking this, is this the right thing to do? And I didn't have that before. And yeah, even if it was right, I may have then dillied and dallied, you know, for several months trying to make that decision. But I know I was buying a HMO, and you and I had just a half an hour conversation. We actually role played how I'd feel if I pulled out of the deal, or if I went back for a discount, and ethically whether that aligned with myself. And it made a significant difference, you know. And now here we are, just a few months later. I'm now 6 weeks into the renovation. I've got a supported living organisation. They contacted me today to say they'd like to come and see the property potentially and take it on, which, you know, could be a game changer as well. And that's all through the power of the SSAS, which and the support that you guys have given me. So, you know, for that, I think I'll always be kind of eternally grateful. And you know, no one can take away this knowledge now either. That's the key thing. Yeah.
So that's that's an incredible share, you know, and I think it's resonated with Colin, who's saying something similar.
Yeah, no problem at all, Colin. But, it's a pleasure.
I mean, the issue, I think, where we are is, look, we're absolutely genuinely holistic. This isn't about peddling a course, as Paul has said. We're not interested in peddling things. We're just interested in trying to help you discern that combination of things that's absolutely right for you, using lots of tools that, you know, we could talk about wealth dynamics and what that means. We could talk about the wheel of wealth and what that means. And maybe you can watch some more videos to remind yourself of some of those tools. But if you just listen to the people who are involved in it and you hear the sincerity in their voice, that this is not about anything else other than getting them to a place where they can achieve financial security, then on to independence, in a way that possibly on their own they wouldn't do, or if they would do, and I think Paul would have made it anyway, but just would have made it so much more quickly and so much more enjoyably. And I think you said to me the other day, Paul, I just needed that reassurance. You know, it's just that feeling.
Yeah, and it's finding like-minded people to talk to. You know, I've still got my dad, luckily, but he unfortunately doesn't give me quite as good advice as Kevin. Not to suggest my dad, Kevin, anyway. But
thanks for that.
You know, it's nice to have someone.
I was liking you, but now I'm not.
No, not at all. I don't think there's that much different stage at all. But it's yeah, you know, sometimes you find like you're a bit of a lone wolf. You know, I've been invested in property for several years now, since 2001 on and off, and you know, none of my friends are into it. My wife's not actually that necessarily that interested in it, you know. And it's sometimes you just need someone to talk to, and actually there's an abundance of people, not just Kevin and Chris. You know, there's a whole load of people out there in the Wealth Builders community that are so willing to share. You know, I mean, yeah, a few of us have come on the call tonight just to talk about, you know, what we've been doing, and we're just a few of those people that are more than happy to help. Yeah, whoever wants to ask for that help, to be quite honest.